Hi, this is Louis-Dreyfuss, so welcome to my review of Thunderbolts with spoilers, okay? Okay, I did a review without spoilers, okay, so this review is going to obviously have spoilers in it, okay? And the basic gist of it, like I read it from the synopsis, is that these group of I'm going to say misfits, this group of characters, they get drawn into this plot, and basically they get set up to be basically blown up, okay? Valentina is being investigated, played by Louis-Dreyfuss. She's being investigated by a senator, played by Wendell Pierce, and so she's kind of cleaning house, and she has these characters that she's been using to do these off the books assignments for her. Okay, and she basically wants them to get in one place so she can basically have them kill each other and then blow up. And because you see through the movie, she's moving evidence left and right, and she has this excuse me, that's working with her, who's kind of developing a conscience, and she's kind of wavering, and you see also Bucky, who's a senator, and so he's kind of feeling her out, and he basically gives her his card and thinks that maybe he can turn her and stuff. And later in the movie, we do see that she does, I guess, grow a conscience, and definitely calls Bucky to try to help stop Valentina. Now, anyway, the thing that really irritated me, okay, is mostly what everybody knew going in, I think, or guessed pretty much going in. Taskmaster, okay. Now, we know from everybody knew from the trailers and stuff, because you only see Taskmaster in the scene, and they even released a scene of them fighting, and that's the last place you see Taskmaster at. Basically, Taskmaster gets murdered by Ghost, okay? And to me, it's stupid, and I'll tell you why I think it's stupid, okay? Because I heard Grace Randolph talking about this when I was watching her review with spoilers, and she was saying, "Oh, well, this is to show you that up the stakes, that things are dangerous, that anybody could die." BS, okay? You know why? Because the actual Valentina is kind of the main villain in this, with an assist from Sentry, who played by the character of Bob, and again played by Louis Pullman, who's fantastic in this movie. Okay, and he is a character. When we first see him, he's like, you see him in the hospital gown, and he doesn't remember who he is. He doesn't remember why he's there and stuff in the middle of all this, these anti-heroes fighting each other, trying to kill each other. He just pops up out of a crate. And anyway, his character has really become Sentry, okay? And he has a lot of trauma. Again, all these anti-heroes characters in this movie have past trauma. Yelena has that, and they even showed a couple of times of her. She basically set up her friend. It was like a test to set up her friend to be basically murdered. That's part of the Red Room training and stuff. So she's kind of haunted by that. And also, you got John Walker. His family, his wife and kid left him, okay, because he's still dealing with that trauma of what he did, murdering that man in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show. And of course, Ghost has her trauma of being, basically experimented on. And of course, Red Guardian he's sort of separated away from this, and then he joins up later. But also Taskmaster, okay, excuse me, was the daughter of the scientist who basically worked on these girls in the Red Room, okay, and he experimented on his daughter, and she became Taskmaster. And I just think it was just BS the way she died. Like, that's just BS. Basically, they're trying to kill each other, okay, and they're fighting each other, and there's even a moment where she raises her mask, Taskmaster, to look at Yelena and says, "I'm not after you." And it looks like she's trying to kill Ghost and I guess and John Walker, but then she gets shot in the head by Ghost, and she's dead, and that's it. I think that was a bunch of BS. Okay, I knew from reading the comics, I knew who Taskmaster was because I think I remember first seeing him in the Avengers comic book, because I used to collect that comic book, and I think George Perez drew that issue. But anyway, Taskmaster was a character. He had photo reflexes. I think that's what it was, that he could watch something. He could watch like superheroes, combat and doing all these moves, and he could mimic it. Okay, he could. I think that was, and then plus, so he had like arrows like Hawkeye. He had the shield like Captain America, and I think he had a bunch of other stuff. But he was an impressive character, Taskmaster. And I knew once we saw that Black Widow movie, they kind of did a bastardized version of that character and put her in that movie. But at the end of it, Black Widow, kind of gave her freedom. Okay, and so to have her be killed just like that, to me, I think was a bunch of BS. They might as well not even included her in the movie. I think there was one moment where Ghost brought up to me, Yelena, I'm sorry about your friend. Basically, there's one little mention of it, and no sweat off Yelena. Yeah, nothing. What was the point of putting Taskmaster in the movie? Okay, that was just, to me, it was a bunch of BS, and I don't buy that argument about just to show you that the stakes were high or were raised, that they killed off Taskmaster was not that great a character to begin with. Okay, in this universe, so killing her off like that was just kind of pointless to me. Okay, you might as well not even put her in the movie for all that they did with her. Okay, for all that little scene that they had with her in there, and they shouldn't even did. To me, that was a waste of that character. Okay, if you had the character, I know people didn't like the character in the Black Widow movie. They thought it was a bastardized version of Taskmaster. You might as well not have put her in this movie. That's just a bunch of BS. Okay, now if they would have again, if you see the movie, if they would have kept her alive, Taskmaster, and dealt with her trauma as well, and maybe there's a scene towards the end of the movie, or not towards the end of the movie, I think towards the 3/4 part of the movie, where Bob, okay, we find out that Bob has been experimented on. He volunteered for an experiment, okay, and from these scientists, and that's how he got his power. And he basically has the powers like Superman. And there's a scene where you see them in Avengers Tower. That's the new headquarters for Valentina, and he basically just bitch slaps all the heroes left and right. Okay, you could have had. I would have maybe accepted it more if then, right there, if you'd have had Sentry, kill one of the heroes. But there was a scene, that when he's slamming them around, he pushes Red Guardian, I think it was telekinesis. He pushes him out of the window, and out of the tower, and you see him like suspended in air, and then he pulls him back in. Because I thought for a minute that he was going to drop him, okay, and that would have been, of course, that would have been horrific. Because Red Guardian, David Harbour's character, is one of the great characters in this movie. I thought that would have been horrific. But if you wanted to kill Taskmaster, maybe have her killed then, when Sentry is going off and he's. But again, you have to say Sentry didn't kill. He stopped them, but he didn't kill them because he actually got to know them when they were trying to escape. That place that they were confined to. So I guess that's why he didn't kill him. And then later we find out that he has this trauma, that he came from an abusive household, and that's with all these kind of heroes. They have these troubled pasts and stuff. And you see towards the end of the movie, he kind of morphs from Bob to Sentry to Void. Okay, and Void, he's basically wiping people out and trapping them in their trauma. Basically, is what he's doing. And the heroes have to go in. You see in what I think in the final trailer, you see Yelena walk into one of the voids, because his void is like spreading all over New York City, and she willingly walks into it, and the other heroes figure it out, and they all go in, and they basically see Bob there, and they basically comfort him so he can get over his trauma, and then then they can come back to the real world. And like I said, it was a good movie. I think Taskmaster was completely wasted, and I don't know if they planning on bringing back another version of Taskmaster. Maybe you'll see that in one of those Avengers movies and stuff. But I think that was a complete waste of time to have her brought in the movie and then have her killed off. I think that was so stupid. I'm sorry. It was just kind of made no sense because all these characters, the anti-heroes that had these past traumas, right, and they basically have to come together and because of course they don't want to be heroes, but they kind of forced to be towards the end when Void is basically wiping out New York City and stuff, and they become heroes because they stop and help the people, and so they kind of become heroes, okay, even though they don't really want to be, okay. And like I said, they all have this trauma, and there's a great scene with Florence Pugh and David Harbour where she's basically telling him that she's tired and she's tired of doing all this. And she's just basically pouring her heart out. It's a really emotional scene. And David Harbour acting against each other was really one of the highlights of this movie. It was just really, really well done. And again, David Harbour is just absolutely excellent as Red Guardian. He makes you laugh, and he's just full of energy, and I really liked him. Sebastian Stan is not in the movie as much, but he does make an impression when he later joins up with these heroes and stuff. And it's a fun, yeah, it's a fun movie. I just, again, that's the only part that really irritated me, that Taskmaster got killed so easily. I mean, it was really, I don't know why. I say it's dumb because Taskmaster, her power is supposed to be photo reflexes, that she's supposed to see something. She's supposed to be able to, see somebody do combat, obviously, and so she can, she can hold her own, basically. And for her, I know she was fighting multiple people, like everybody else was fighting each other and stuff, and yet she gets taken out with just a bullet to her head. I think that was just too easy and such very weak. And basically, after she got shot in the head and died, that's it. And I think they brought it up one time. Ghost, was sort of, I guess he felt bad about it later and said something to Yelena about it, and Yelena kind of brushed it off like, it is what it is, which again, just ridiculous, because her daughter, because they were all victims of that Red Room and stuff, and for them to just casually dismiss it, I think it was just was a weird choice. I think that unless there's some scenes that they cut out in this movie, which I guess is always possible, there were scenes that they filmed with Ghost that they cut out. Not Ghost, I'm sorry, with Taskmaster, and they cut them out, and they think they call themselves slick by putting Taskmaster in the posters and stuff, but you knew from the trailers, because you didn't see her in any other scenes. Like you didn't see her in the car with them driving. You didn't see them on the street when they were having that fight. You didn't see anywhere else except in that lab, that confined space that they were trapped in. That's the only place you saw her, in that clip that they released before the movie started, before the movie got released. That was the only place you really saw her. Okay, so that's why people already figured out, yeah, she's probably gonna buy it. But I thought, even if she was to buy it, I thought it would be towards the later part of the movie, not in the first act of the movie. And it was kind of pointless. I don't know. Again, like I said, unless they, I thought for a minute that they killed her off so early that they were going to bring her character back for some reason. That's what I thought. Okay, that's what was weighing on my mind. I was saying, wait a minute, they're probably going to bring her back for some reason, or maybe maybe that's why they killed her character off, and then they're going to bring her back, bring her back or something. Maybe Valentina will, would find her body or something and just repurpose her and stuff. But that never happened either. Okay, so it was just a waste of time to have Taskmaster there and then have her get killed so easily. To me, it was a complete waste. Okay, a complete waste of that character. And like I said, I know people were not that high off that character at any event, but I thought it was just weak the way they killed her off so easily. And it was like a waste of time to even have her character there. You might as well not even put her in the movie. What was the point of having the movie? Just to have her get killed off? I can see if you had her killed off maybe by Sentry when he was in his godlike phase, or when he was Void and stuff. Maybe that, just to show you that the stakes are raised in the third act, and then because he was sort of like the quasi villain, not villain, okay, but Valentina was really the main villain in this movie. So maybe if he would have killed her off, Taskmaster, in the third act or somewhere along that line, that would have, to me, would have made more sense. Other than that, you shouldn't even had her in the movie. I think that was just a waste of that character. And I have a feeling they're probably going to bring a new version of Taskmaster back, and maybe that's Kevin Feige's way of just getting rid of that character that he knew wasn't that popular to begin with, and so he can bring on maybe in another movie down the line, have another Taskmaster in one of these movies and stuff. So maybe that's why he did it. Okay, but I still think it was stupid to have her in the movie and have her get killed off so easily. Okay, this is supposed to be a skilled assassin, and she gets killed that easily. I don't think so. That was just very weak, in my opinion. Anyway, but other than that, I really liked it. Again, Louis Pullman as Bob, Sentry, and Void. I thought he was really good in this movie. He's a character who doesn't know who he is at first, and then he slowly figures out who he is. And there's a great scene of him when he sacrifices himself, basically, so the other people can get away, other heroes can get away. And that's when he finds out that he really has the powers and stuff, and he basically gets shot like a million times, and then he gets up and you see him floating, and he basically flies up and then I think they shoot him down, and then he plummets to the earth. And then later we see uh, that when Valentina knows who he is, she takes his body and brings it back to Avengers Tower, which she just purchased, and she tells him who he is and all this stuff. And then he comes down in his Sentry uniform with dyed hair and stuff, and he basically mollywops the other heroes with ease. Okay, he's basically is this very marvelous version of Superman because he is all powerful and unstoppable. And then when he basically turns on Valentina and becomes Void, he's even more scarier. Okay, and again, I think Louis Pullman did a great job with the character. Okay, and I wouldn't mind again seeing these characters again in a sequel. But like I said, I don't think we're going to see these characters. I think either in the Avengers movie or the Secret Wars movie. I think, and maybe I know in the movie they go Red Guardian. He gives them new uniforms and they call themselves the Avengers, right? Okay, but then they even make a joke of it at the end in the after credit scene where they go the new Avengers with a Z. That was hilarious. Okay, but again, there was a mid-credit scene where Red Guardian's in the supermarket, and you see the new Avengers on a cereal box, a Wheaties box, and he has a funny interaction with a lady that's shopping, and it's absolutely hilarious. David Harbour is just hilarious in that scene. And then there's the after credit scene, which is the most important scene that everybody tries to stick around for, where you see them later. It's like 6 months later, and you see them with new uniforms on and stuff, and then we see that there's a spaceship, and we also find out that apparently Sam Wilson, aka Captain America, is suing them for trying to commandeer the Avengers name. Okay, and then we see later that they find out that there's some spaceship heading towards Earth, and then of course we see when Elena's looking on the satellite thing, then we see it's the Fantastic Four. Okay, you see the ship, and you see the four on the ship, so we know that actually they're going to be making that appearance in the Avengers movie, and we know that we know you can pretty much figure out in that Fantastic Four movie that Galactus is probably going to succeed in eating Earth. in that version, that world, he's probably going to eat it. They're going to try to stop him and probably fail, and then they have to take off in their rocket ship, to escape Earth literally, because Earth isn't going to be no more, because Galactus is going to suck it dry, and then they'll come to our universe and they'll be in our universe. Okay, and I can't wait to see how it plays out in the movie, in the Fantastic Four movie. Okay, exactly. It's because I think they're gonna be the first one interacting probably with the Avengers characters, the Fantastic Four, because they know that they're coming from, they know that the ship is coming to Earth, so they'll probably interact with them. And I want to see how the X-Men get here to this universe. We know basically how the Fantastic Four get here, but I'm wondering if they're going to show you a little. Maybe in the Fantastic Four movie, maybe they'll have an after-credit scene with the X-Men coming to this world or something. The X-Men from the Fox X-Men coming to this world. Maybe they'll do that like they did in this movie, showing the Fantastic Four coming. Maybe they'll show in the Fantastic Four movie the X-Men coming to this universe. Okay, that would be cool. Anyway, again, I gave this movie 3 stars. I thought it was really good. Really, I love the chemistry between the actors and stuff. And again, Louis Pullman, great as Sentry. Julie Louis-Dreyfuss as Valentina was absolutely fantastic. Again, I love David Harbour. Always love him. And Florence Pugh as Elena is just, she's gold. She's like she can kill you with these. There's so many good emotional moments in this between her, and then also, again, Wyatt Russell I thought was really good as John Walker. We got to know about his trauma as well. Okay, not so much Ghost. She talked about it, and we know her history from the Ant-Man movies. But I think everybody else, we got to know their traumas and stuff, and just a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. Definitely recommend you go see it. Okay, but again, killing Taskmaster, putting Taskmaster in the movie just to be killed off so easily, to me, was stupid. Okay, that's okay, and nobody can convince me otherwise. Stupid. Okay, I think that was stupid and a waste of time. Anyway, let me know what you think of Thunderbolts. What do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. Let me know if you thought them including Taskmaster in this movie just to have her killed off so easily was not necessary. It was kind of pointless. Okay, let me know what you think. Feel free to leave comments down below. In the description box, I have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. Also have a link to my other channel, Paul Views and Opinions. You can check that out as well. Also have a link down below to my Patreon. Again, my Patreon's only $5 a month. Tons of content on there. Tons of unedited content on there. I got over 200 videos on there. 5 different categories. You get 5-minute preview clips of all the content once you join. Okay, follow the link. It'll take you there. Also have a link down below to my merchandise store. As you can see, I'm wearing my spherical shirt right there. That's one of the designs I have on my store. Also have my Trade Passer logo on one of this. That's another design that I have on t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, water bottles, hats, t-shirts. Okay, for men, for women, for unisex. Follow the link. It'll take you to the store. Also, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. Also, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you know when I upload new content to this channel. And this is Trade Passer saying so long and take care.